Then he had a right to. Sailing towards 60, Dar was. When you saw him on the ocean, bellowing orders and hauling nets over the side of whichever family smack he'd chosen to captain that day, or watched him gutting fish and bargaining the prices afterwards, it was hard to believe he had 7 sons grown and was a grandpa 11 times over. There wasn't a man in all the kingdom of Lur, Olkin or Dorana who could beat back the waves like Dar, who could catch a leaping sawfish with just a hook and a rod, or snatch a bright-scaled volley from right over the side of the boat and kill it with his bare hands alone. Looking at him now, though, all black and silver in the moonlight, his uncapped head sparse with greying hair, his weathered face sagging in sorrowed sleep, belief was all too easy. Dar was old and wearing out fast, from work and worry. Still holding his boots, Asher crouched beside the armchair, gazed into his father's slumbering features, and felt a great wave of love crash over him. He was going to miss this face, with its crooked nose, broke in a drunken brawl over Ma when they were courting, and its scarred chin, split by slipping on a storm-heaved deck 5 seasons gone. "Past time somebody did the worrying for you, Dar," he whispered. "Past time you had things soft, 'stead of hard. I said I'd do this for you one day, and I reckon that day's come." Trouble was, it was easier said than done. To make good on his promise, he needed more than dreams, though he had plenty of those. He needed money. Lots and lots of money. But he wasn't going to find it in Resthaven, not just because it was Resthaven, but because of his brothers. In a family business, money made was money shared, and the youngest got the smallest slice of the pie. Well, sink that for a load of mackerel. He was off to find his own pie, and he wasn't going to share it with anybody, not till the pie was big enough to buy him a boat of his own, so he and Dar could leave Zeth and the rest of them to their own devices, sink or swim, who cared? He and Dar wouldn't. He and Dar would have their own damn boat, and with all the money they'd make fishing it, just the two of them, they'd live as grand as the king hisself. For 2 years now, he'd been scrimping and saving and going without, just so he'd have enough to get by, enough to get him all the way to the grand city of Dorana. He had it all worked out. "It's just for a year, Dar," he whispered. "I'll only be gone a year. It ain't that long a time, really, and I'll be back afore you know it. You'll see." The clock on the wall struck 10:30, loud chiming in the silence. The rusty anchor would be closing soon, and Jed was waiting with his knapsack and purse. He had to go. Asher leaned over the armchair, pressed a kiss to his father's weathered cheek, and slipped out of the small stone cottage he and all his brothers had lived in from birth. When he was sure it was safe to make a noise, he stamped into his boots, then hurried from shadow to shadow until he reached the rusty anchor. The pub was full, as usual. Asher pressed his nose to the bobbled window pane, trying not to be seen, and searched for Jed. Spying his friend at last amongst the crush of carousing fishermen, he tapped and waved and hoped Jed would notice him. Just as he was despairing, Jed leapt away from an enthusiastically swung arm, stumbled, turned, and saw him. "I were about to give up on you," his friend grumbled as he came outside, a fresh tankard of ale in his hand. "You said 10 o'clock or soon after. It'd be nigh on closing time now." "Don't look like you miss me over much." Asher swiped the tankard from Jed's clutches and took a deep swallow of cold, bitter ale. "Did you bring 'em?" Jed snatched the tankard back. "Course I brung 'em," he said, rolling his eyes. "I'm your friend, ain't I?" "A friend would let me drink that tankard dry," said Asher.